Everything was going perfectly until my noodles turned into mush. Let's just say, don't make the same mistake. And I think that's why you should stick around to know what not to do to get a perfect noodle. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Naked Fusion. Today we're taking a flavor trip. Nigeria meets Korea in one spicy umami bowl. Think rich fish pepper soup, soft Korean rice noodles, and toppings like shrimps, mushrooms, eggs, all dancing together in one pot. It's fairy, it's cozy, and full of flavor. So let's get cooking. As you can see, I'm putting my rice noodles into a bowl of water. This step, please skip it. This is where you need to not do this. You don't need to do this, and I will explain why. So to our fish, we're using tilapia fish. You can use any fish of your choice. I'm using tilapia fish because this is what I have available, and I'm just going to trim off the fins of the fish, but I'm not discarding that trim. I'm just going to use it to develop some flavor, like some more deeper fishy flavor. So I'm going to do something like a stock with it, but not with all ingredients that should make it stock. But I didn't discard them. I still deboned the tail of this fish at some point. I didn't show that in the video, so I used that bone as well in that stock that I made. So I'm going to cut my fish in the size that I want. This is the size that I want. It's a small fish, so if you have so much fish, you can cut it to whatever size you want to. Then I'm going to season my fish. Now this is where I start to build flavor. I'm going to be seasoning it with pepper soup spice and chili pepper, and with other seasoning. So first, into my bowl, as usual, I would use a little bit of olive oil, and this is just to help everything come together. And that's my pepper soup spice. It is store-bought, but you can make your own pepper soup spice. That is chili powder that I'm adding to the bowl. I'm going to add some fish seasoning, and I'm going to be adding some salt. Then I'm going to mix this together, and I'm going to allow this to sit for about, let's say, 20 minutes. This fish and the cut of fish is quite small, and the process for the marination doesn't need to be that long. It wouldn't need to be that long. So they're about 20 minutes. So this is the stock that I tried to create with the fins. I just fried this up, and here you can see some brown bits and all that. It's perfect. That's just flavor building in our pan. So to this, I'm going to add thyme and bay leaf, and then I'm just going to add some water and allow that to simmer on low heat. We don't want the stock to bubble. I'm also going to scoop out debris from the stock. We want a light stock. Into our frying pan, I'm going to put some vegetable oil. So I'm just going to saute my mushrooms. These are toppings that I'm going to use for this Korean Nigerian soup bowl. I'll just call it that. So I'm just going to fry off my mushrooms. I've got canned mushroom and mushrooms that have dried mushrooms, but I have rehydrated the dried mushrooms. I'm just going to fry them up. So into my pan, I've added oil, and then I've added onions and garlic just to infuse its flavor into that oil, and I'm going to fry with that oil. these are my canned mushrooms. You can see it's splattering some water. And then these are the dried mushrooms that I have hydrated. I'm going to allow that to fry up till they have browned up. Of course, as always, we'll add seasoning. But I've added just salt. You can add any seasoning of your choice. But I've added just salt, and the reason why I'm adding just salt is because there are other components of this dish. When everything comes together, it would balance out. So I've added salt to this. I'm just going to allow this to fry up till it is brown. Now to our Nigerian pepper soup, we'll be needing, of course, saint leaves, some fresh from lemongrass, peppers. So I'm using shombo, which is not traditionally, you don't need to use that, but because we want that red soup, okay, so we are using shombo, which still adds its own heat. And I'm using some habanero peppers, some ginger and some garlic, and then more pepper soup spice. Yes, it's store-bought. You can make yours at home. So into a blender, I'll be blending my peppers, the ginger, garlic, and the shombo. I'll be blending everything together to a smooth paste. If you notice, I've taken the seed off my peppers. I've taken it off my peppers. So my mushrooms were already browned up and ready. I've also fried some shrimps in this frying pan, and I'm going to use this same pan. You can see brown bits in it. We are not scraping that off. That is flavor. So to this frying pan, I'm going to add my fish that I have marinated, and I'm just going to sear that on low heat, just very low heat. Sear the fish on each side before I start making the pepper soup. The reason why I seal this together is, it's just my thought anyways, but I feel it does seal up the seasoning to the fish, like it seals it up to the fish, even if it's going to go into liquid, but it seals up the seasoning for me. Like I said, we'll be frying both sides. I'm just flipping it to the other side. That is the tail of the fish that I deboned. I took out the bone of the fish, but I'm leaving the others as it is. I will take off the bone after I am done cooking. That is the fish stock that I have made from earlier. That is a shrimp stock also that I made earlier. And this is the pepper soup spice I'm adding to this pot. The shrimp stock and the fish stock, it's optional. It's optional. Just cook your regular pepper soup the way you cook regular pepper soup. Well, I just added this because I had those things and I didn't want to discard them. Nothing is waste for me. So yeah, to that I'm going to add my lemongrass, as you can see, and my blended pepper. You can see how red that is. That's what we're trying to achieve. A spicy looking bowl of rice noodles fish pepper soup. At this point, I'm going to begin seasoning my pepper soup base. This is where you balance out everything. So I'm going to start from very little quantity, and then I'm going to continue. Like, I will test as I'm going to check that it is properly seasoned. Please use seasoning to your own tolerance. If you're not the type that like too much of seasoning, too much of salt, use to your own tolerance. I'm just going to keep seasoning it till I am okay with how it tastes. Please note that the stock I put in earlier has no salt in it, no seasoning in it. So season to your tolerance. Now in another pan, I'm putting in oil, seasoning oil, vegetable olive oil, and then some soy sauce. But this step is another step you should miss. You shouldn't do this so you don't end up with a mushy noodle. But you can actually do this, but you have to control the cooking time. I will explain why it all got mushy. We're getting there. So this part is where I take our noodles that have been soaking for a bit, and then I'm going to put it in this pot and then mix that together. And that's because I want it to absorb the umami flavor that is in this pan. So I'm just going to mix this together. Now if you're going to do this step, I would rather you avoid it. But if you're going to do this step, after the first mix of, like you see me mixing it, after you have mixed it, you should turn off your heat. It's actually on low heat. After you have mixed it, you just turn off your heat and then take it out of that pan so it doesn't continue cooking in the pan. Normally I would do this with the tiny rice noodles. I'd normally use that. This is my first time attempting to use this size of rice noodles. I've tried it with the other rice noodles, the tinier ones, and it's fine. It works well. This one should also have worked well, but you would find out why it didn't work well in the video. Just keep watching. So you see how it's reducing. Is reducing because I'm still cooking this. And I shouldn't have been doing this. So while this is happening, you need to check our pepper soup base. You can see it's beginning to boil and the flavors are beginning to blend in. The lemongrass flavor is beginning to blend in. So at this point, I'm going to take out my fish, and that's because I do not want it to be overcooked. So I'm going to take out the fish, and then I'm going to allow that to still cook more. But I'll be transferring this into a different pot. And when you see that pot, some Nigerians, or you will understand, I will explain why that pot had an effect on this pepper soup that I'm making. Now here is our clay pot, and I transferred this pepper soup base into this clay pot. Now this clay pot retains heat. It retains heat for a long time, and my brain didn't click. It didn't click. I didn't think, oh, this was going to happen to these rice noodles. And I just put it in this clay pot because, well, I wanted to achieve the Korean style dishing one pot, noodles. So yeah, this is the mistake. Now, if you're going to cook the noodles like I did before this part, then you have to just use a normal pot to cook, and you can control the cooking of the noodles. But if you're going to use this clay pot, you don't need to have done the soaking of the noodles, or even the second part where I was just frying the noodles on low heat. You will just take that noodles from the pack. At this point, you take it from the pack and just put it in this noodles in this pot and allow that to soften in the pot. That is the best option. That is the best way to avoid anything. You just put it directly into the pot. So this is what I did, and I put that in the pot. I put in my scent leaf, and then I mixed and still covered and allowed it to cook. And all this time that I was doing that, the noodles was already getting soft. You saw that our noodles is actually long, but when we started dishing, it looked short. It had gone mushy. So now I'm putting my toppings. That's some sliced carrots I have just put in there. To that, I'm going to add some mushrooms. The mushrooms that I showed you that I fried earlier. And that's the shrimps that I talked about. Some shrimps and calamari that I fried also. I'm adding some cabbage straight into that pot. It's going to cook down there. I'm going to add my tilapia fish. I've taken out the bones from the tilapia fish, so I'm going to add my tilapia fish. That's the mushroom I'm adding. Then I'm also adding some hake fish. I had some hake fish that I've added. I'm also going to be adding some soft-boiled eggs. So if you want to do this at home, you do not have these ingredients, make use of what you have. I'm certain you can get eggs anywhere. You can get canned mushrooms in the market. You can get carrots, vegetable, tofu, pak choy, if you have that. So just make use of vegetables of your choice. This is what I had available, and so I used what I had available. So that's my tilapia fish. I've removed the bones. Well, we literally have one full pot. At this point, I'm supposed to have switched off my stove. I should have switched off the stove, but I didn't. These are the mistakes that I made that you shouldn't make. That's why I'm taking my time to explain every part of this video. I would recall what I have said before. Do not soak your noodles. Do not stir fry your noodles. And when you put your noodles directly in here, immediately begin to add your toppings and switch off the stove. This is what it looks like. It's really looking pretty. It did taste very lovely. It was really, really, really nice. But yeah, it got mushy. So this is the point where I found out that my noodles was mushy, because it went from the long strands of noodles to short strands of noodles, and I didn't break it. and neither did I get to stir it, so it has overcooked. Now this clay pot, even as it's sitting out of the stove, it is still very hot. It retains heat, it retains a high level of heat. So you can also skip using this clay pot. If you want to use the normal pot, you can use the normal pot, just to avoid your food being overcooked. So there you have it. That's the noodles. You can see it's short, it's not long, it's now, it's mushy. So I have listed out the mistakes that you shouldn't make. I've made these mistakes so that you don't make the mistake. But this is something I would like you to try, and for those trying, I would like to hear your review about this particular combination. Yeah, and that's it. That's all about the video. As always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. Till next time, keep exploring.